Alright, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to do a mods versus dyno. We're going to install one mod on this car. This is a brand new 2019 zl1 Camaro. I guess 2019 is not brand new, I guess, but technically it's brand new because this thing has very low miles and it's bone stock. No mods at all. It's a little dusty, but other than that, she's very stock, very clean. Today we are going to install that Alternative Performance Engineering Flex Fuel Kit, so we can see what's in the box here. So we got the box. It came with a multi-gauge. This multi-gauge, what it does is it will Bluetooth out ethanol content into your phone so you can see exactly what ethanol mixture you're running. These cars have an LT4 engine. This LT4 engine cannot run full E85, so you have to mix 91 in ethanol. Typically on this engine, since it's stock, we might be able to get away with about E55 to E60 ethanol. And the way we're gonna figure that out is we're gonna put a flex fuel sensor in line along with this trusted fuel line here. Once this is hooked up, it's gonna relay the information to the box. The box is gonna transmit out the ethanol content into the ECU via the plug and play harness here. There's actually two different kits because we have another car that's coming in. This is a flex fuel compatible kit for this car. It's plug and play. It's got a pin out here. Once you install the flex fuel sensor, you're gonna go ahead and pin this wire into the ECU. Everything's plug and play. You don't have to cut any wires. You don't have to splice anything. It just all directly fits in there. The ECU is all in there. It's the J1 connector. You can see it's that blue connector here. It's got a release pin. Once you release the pin out, it's got a locker in there. And then this is a cover for it. This cover has a zip tie, so you break that zip tie, and then you're gonna go ahead and remove this right here. So the way you want to take this out is you're gonna wiggle it side to side. So you go out, you pull on this pin. You have to be very careful. So that side's already pulling out. That side's already pushed out. And then you're gonna have to just go ahead and pop this out. Once this pops out, you can see all the ECU pins are exposed. You're gonna go ahead and find pin E38. That's the pin this is going to get into. And it usually has a dead blocker in there, so you're gonna have to use a pin, a hook, or anything to push it out. Typically, I'll use a thin Allen head. It goes straight in there, pushes it out, and then this will be a support. It doesn't damage anything, and you're good to go. These pins are usually marked, so you can see here, you can see pin 1 is in there, and pin 53 is on the left side. Pin 1 is here, pin 53 is here. You're gonna go flip it over to the side here, you're gonna count your pins. So 16 all the way to the end, 17, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. So it comes out to this pin right here. So again, this is the connector side, flip it over. Pin 1 is here, 16, 17, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. So pin 38 here, flip it over the other side, and it's going to be next to the yellow wire on this side. And it's going to go straight in there. It's between the white wire and the blue wire, actually. Sorry, I was confused with the Corvettes. Usually the Corvettes are right next to the yellow wire. It's gonna be hard to see because it's gonna go between this white wire and this blue wire here. Alright, so we're gonna wiggle this in here. It's between this blue wire and white wire. So we're gonna go ahead and just push that out. You wanna be extra careful so you don't damage any pins. There you go, you can see that. Just pushed it out. So that's what's blocking it here. So you can see how we push this out. This is a blocker. So once you take this out, then now you have the ability to slide that pin in there and you'll be good to go. So now make sure we have the correct length, and then we got the whole harness laid out. We're gonna go ahead and make sure we do the proper. You want to check your pins here, and you can see the orientation of the pins, and make sure when you put your pin in it, make sure this portion is orientated the same way as the other ones. So you can see in this case, it would go in like that. So you're gonna go ahead and find the pin here, and then we're gonna go ahead and slide that in here. All right, so now that we got the pin in there, you're gonna make sure that you're sliding the pin all the way through. Once you get it all the way through, it'll lock. You can see you can try pulling it back. There's a clip back there. So now that the clip is holding it back, which means it's perfectly in place. Once you do that, you're gonna go ahead and put your cover back on. This is the orientation it goes. So this is just gonna snap right back into place. There you go. That snaps in place. You got your pin in there now. And then you want to put your cover back in there. This is gonna cover and lock everything in place. Normally you'd want to pull the whole pin, this whole clip out of here. Makes your life a little easier, but I was able to do it without doing all that, which it saved me some time, but I feel like I'm about to struggle a little bit more now. One side is on, and now the other side is on. Cool. So now this is all back in. All you're gonna do is put your zip tie back in and it all looks OEM. Once all that is in, you can go ahead and just snap this back in place, and then the pin out, the hard part is done, and you can install everything else. So this, you just want you want to route this nicely and then hide it so it doesn't touch anywhere, which we'll do that towards the end. Cool. So got the zip tie in. So now slide the connector back into the ECU. This is gonna lock in place. That means a lock. Make sure you put the locker in there. And then wham bam, she is done. Now you can start installing the rest of the harness. This whole thing should take you about 30 minutes or so, and you'll be ready to go. So basically you're gonna get power from the coils, and therefore you can just go ahead and pop this out. Any of the coils will technically work, so we're just gonna go ahead and pick this one. Go ahead and plug this in. Oh, fuck that one up. No, it's actually good. We're good, we're good. We are Gucci. So once you have that on there, you're gonna just go ahead and clip this in, and then go ahead and clip the other coil portion in. This is just gonna slide in here, and then that's gonna just lock it in, and then bam, you're locked in and you're ready to go. We're gonna go ahead and put this flex fuel sensor over here, and go ahead and put the actual module up here as well. The next step is you're gonna have to pop off this feed line for the fuel. So you're gonna have to put the flex fuel sensor here. You're gonna slide in the blue locker in there. It's gonna pull it out, and then boom, just like that. So this basically gets in there. The way this works is it gets in there, push it down. This gets in there and releases it off this little groove there, and then you're able to pop it off. Make sure you always have a nice rag so you can catch any excess fuel. That way you don't make a mess. But now we got that off, we can go ahead and install the rest of the kit, flex fuel sensor, and then pretty much the last step, and we're ready to go. So flex fuel sensor is officially on. We got the module here. We hid the wiring as well as we could. Over here, everything looks good. So we're gonna go ahead and enable it in the ECU, and hopefully it'll work. And I hope it works. It's a lot of work. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and enable the pin now, but you do not need to enable the pin. You do not need to flash the ECU. Once you install the kit, the car will run fine. It does not know you have the flex fuel kit on until you enable it and the flex fuel logic in the ECU. You gotta switch it from flex fuel enabled, then you gotta switch it from virtual to sensor in the ECU, flash it, and then you're ready to tune. Again, you do not need to tune it in order for you to drive the car, but you cannot put ethanol in the car once you install the flex fuel sensor without tuning it. Alright, so right now I did 3 pulls back to back. So I did 530, 540, and then I did 522 after I got heat soaked. So we're gonna say an average of 530 something horsepower. I'm gonna add ethanol. She's got about a little bit over a half tank. So I'm gonna add about 4 gallons of ethanol and see where it gets us. But keep in mind also that's a cold pool. IATs were about 70, so that's the best she's gonna get as far as baseline, because this thing was not heat soaked. So now I'm gonna start tuning it. It's gonna get heat soaked, and hopefully we get close to 600 horsepower. So it made 550 there, but the ethanol content wasn't really high. 232. We did, still didn't hit my timing target. She's still a little bit on the high side. IATs are a little bit hot. I was only able to get about 22 degrees of timing. Still got some spark retard there. But overall, really good. 594, we're at E36. If I can get this thing over at E40, yeah, so E34 actually. And it made 594. So the baseline was, so we already picked up over about 75 to 80 horsepower, and the wheel torque was 550. So in some areas we picked up over 70 wheel torque. I think at E50 she will actually make like 620 to the wheels, which is like ridiculous because that's pretty much almost 100 horsepower gain. So this thing's gonna feel nasty on the street. That's the best and the cheapest way you're gonna get 100 horsepower to the wheels, pretty much. Flex fuel kit, Ape flex fuel kit, 350 bucks, plug and play, and then the tune, just can't beat it. And then this thing will be reliable and fun forever, pretty much. And that's very cool. We are done. I'm gonna call that a wrap.